technology, but what happened in the last couple of years was an intervention that used the word vaccine as a kind of veil to mask what they actually were. And all of you guys, let me know in the chat and the comments, commonly use phrases like experimental technology and stuff like that, and clearly that's a pretty valid perspective.
If they had called it a gene transfection technology, we would have thought, wait, what? You know, that sounds highly novel and it sounds dangerous, and how much do we know about the long-term implications?
Also, we know that there was so much marketing pumped into vaccines. You saw all of the musical numbers, the government campaigns. They didn't just plainly and pragmatically say, listen, this is a new technology that we have, give it a whirl. It was extraordinary, bombastic, distracting. In fact, all of the evangelism, hysteria and zeal exists on the apparently rational side of the argument, where the counter-narratives, those that are inquiring, those that might refer to ourselves as the resistance, are a variety of characters, but many of them involve highly rational, quite calm individuals like Brett there.
But because they called it a vaccine, people were much more willing to accept it.
But before we get into Albert Bourla's new moonshot, turbo cancers, here at last, let's first examine whether or not pharmaceutical companies are opportunistic and would see crises as a great chance to make money, explore new techniques, or even create market conditions that would otherwise be inconceivable.
Ultimately, the mRNA vaccines are an example for that cell and gene therapy. I always like to say, if we had surveyed 2 years ago in the public, would you be willing to take gene or cell therapy and inject it into your body, we would have probably had a 95% refusal rate.
What if we were to terrify you for a couple of years? Would you consider it then, oh, I suppose I'm terrified, but what if we shamed you? Oh yes, shame, I wouldn't like that. And we lock you in your home, of course. All right, I'll take your damn product.
I think this pandemic has also opened many people's eyes to...
Yes, it's certainly opened a lot of people's eyes. That's part of the problem, isn't it? They went too far. They overplayed their hand. Many people's eyes are opening.
To innovation in the way that was maybe not possible before.
Okay, so we've seen now Weinstein's claim that the vaccine wasn't even really a vaccine. We've seen people from within the industry saying it was extraordinary and admitting that they were opportunistic in their approach to this. Now, let's get into Pfizer's new moonshot, turbo cancers. Many of you will know that it's an accepted, even sort of quasi-mainstream media critique that Pfizer aren't an innovative pharmacological company where scientists are in laboratories doing all sorts of experiments. This is me being a scientist. Come on, get 8 mouses, splash that one. Oh my God, my eyes. No, Pfizer operate more like a venture capitalist organization, in this case buying up a smaller company that's been working on medications for turbo cancers. They've recently paid over the odds $43 billion for a company that has a $2 billion a year turnover, which seems to suggest that Albert Bourla and Pfizer think that turbo cancers are going to be a big thing in the future. Why would they think that? What's the evidence? What is that prognosis, dark as it may be for the rest of us, based on? Well, cancer is seemingly on the rise, and we'll be telling you a little bit more about that in young people. We've already seen excess sudden deaths. We've seen myocarditis, pericarditis, unexplained heart attacks, collapsing. Now it seems that there's a rise of cancer. What's happened lately? What could be causing this mysterious flare-up in all sorts of diseases? Let me know in the comments and chat. Here, though, is Albert Bourla talking about his new moonshot. And I like the way they keep continually selling this as if he's some sort of brilliant, genius entrepreneur rather than a person who appears to be exploiting misery for money.
Lastly, what is Pfizer's next moonshot and how do you expect to get there?
He's not even that into it. What is Pfizer's next moonshot? Come on, get into it. This is a moonshot.
Where we put all our efforts, because again, based on the discussion effort strategy, we think we have the capabilities to make a difference, and there is a huge need.
Gotta help people. Gotta help them.
From the world to see a difference is cancer.
With all this corruption in the world, it's nice to know there are some things we can rely on, like your love, your tenacity and vitality, and our partners, like Field of Greens. You may have made a resolution to eat healthy this year, but are you going to actually be able to do it? That's a lot trickier, isn't it? Better nutrition, you know, is a key to health and longevity, and a healthy diet could even help you avoid health risks that run in your family. Field of Greens is my healthy super fruit and vegetable habit. I've put down all the others, I've picked up Field of Greens. It's the only fruit and vegetable product that literally promises you better health. It's like a contract. At your next checkup with your physician, your doctor either says to you, by God, you're healthy, or your money back. Your vitamins or green drinks promise better health, they're not able to. They're not able to offer you the Doctor Pledge. Each superfruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was doctor selected for a specific health benefit. Some support your mighty heart, others your glorious lungs, the wings of the heart, others the kidneys, others support metabolism for healthy energy and weight loss. Look, if you've resolved to get healthier in 24 and you know you've got to, it's a crazy year ahead, it starts with Field of Greens. That's me mixing it in. I got you 15% off your first order and free rush shipping. They're going to rush it to you. Visit brickhouserussell.com and use the promo code BRAND. That's promo code BRAND at brickhouserussell.com. brickhouserussell.com. Now, get healthier in 24 and let's get back to the crazy world that we've got to get healthy for if we're going to defy these demonic forces that are trying to destroy us.
It's all about oncology. Disproportionately, we are investing capital over there.
It's weird, this event and events like this, isn't it? Like something going on at Oxford University, plainly about economics, talking about cancer from the perspective of profit. Many of you, of course, statistically, have had cancer or know people that have had cancer. And to hear it just spoken about in terms of a business opportunity is kind of a little jarring, but that is the world we live in. Again, the pandemic period was revelatory. It revealed things that were always present up until the pandemic. Normal anti-establishment folk used to just not trust Pfizer, and because of stuff like Purdue Pharma and the opioid crisis and the Sackler family and the numerous times that Pfizer have made massive settlements out of court. But suddenly, during the pandemic period, they got sort of reframed as kind of the Avengers. Someone's literally using the Avengers in some of their promo. Why are academia, the corporate world, and pharmacology all teaming together to present disease as a kind of business opportunity? Well, because that's the reality of the world we live in. But has something extraordinary happened in the last few years to make people more sick, or keep people sick, or just to treat the world as one big marketplace of Burberry Pal, sick, insipid people that just eat dreadful food and then have to make ourselves better using moon juice spurted out from Baller? Sorry, made myself feel a bit sick there.
And disproportionately organizing the whole organization to make sure that this area is well equipped to be successful. Cancer, that's the new news.
Okay, let's have a look at some of the financial details around Baller's investment. He said there that the next moonshot is cancer. Let's have a look at where
Who's up next?
Gale is here.
Time for some payback.
Should have thought twice.
Double kill. Triple kill.
Another for the fire.
You are the avatar of death.
end this quickly. You tried.
Double kill.
Another for the pie.
We ride.
Of course it's down to me.
The trial commences.
All right, close.
We ride. We pierce. We pierce.
Shut down.
Funeral music.
You are the avatar of death.
Time for some payback.
This isn't good.
Let's mix it up.
Let's try something new. I've returned from the flames.
This way.
Let's try something new.
I am magic itself. There's no escape.
We're taking fire.
Better find some cover.
Paragon slain.
Let's end this quickly. Give it another shot. Better find some cover.
Your valor will live forever.
Didn't think I could pull that off, did you?
kill. Triple kill.
Let's end this quickly. You tried. Another for the pyre. Job.
Time for some payback.
You are the avatar of death.
Enemy down. Let's try something new.
Try to mend.
Should have thought twice.
This way. We've got trouble.
Let's end this quickly.
There's no escape.
Incoming fire.
Eat crow.
Incoming fire.
Burn.
Let's end this quickly. You have a job.
Time for some payback.
Double kill.
The enemy has made it halfway. The triumph commences.
Let's end this quickly.
Follow me. Knife broken. Victory is ours.
Return to the earth. Double kill. Triple kill.
Death too many.
Pfizer have put their money where your cancer is. Pfizer has stunned the medical world, completing the $43 billion acquisition of Segan, a small drug company that treats turbo cancers and barely makes $2 billion per year. We're struggling to get by, sir, on barely $2 billion a year. What day is it? It's Christmas Day, of course. Sir, run down there and get me your finest goose and some drugs for turbo cancers. They're going to be big this year. The acquisition means Pfizer becomes the largest oncology company in the world, capable of treating most turbo cancers. Are we all going to be getting turbo cancer? Do not leave your home for 6 months, otherwise you will get turbo. We all going to be getting largest oncology company in the world. Capable of treating most turbo cancers. Are we all going to be getting turbo cancer? Do not leave your home for 6 months, otherwise you will get turbo cancer. Wear a mask, put on a hat, shut your mouth, otherwise it's turbo cancer for you. Merry Christmas. However, the nature of the acquisition has left many people scratching their heads. Probably one of the symptoms of turbo cancer. Why would Pfizer, flush with the enormous profits it has reaped through its mRNA vaccine, Brett Weinstein would say it shouldn't be called a vaccine, overpay $43 billion for a small cancer drug company? Pfizer does not need the cash. It will also issue $31 billion in debt just to purchase Sagan. So that's extraordinary. Pfizer are backing the idea that turbo cancers are about to become extremely profitable to the tune of $43 billion. That's an interesting move, because ultimately that's the bottom line. That's what we can read. Remember, our most reliable information with regard to excess deaths came not from the medical establishment, but from insurance companies who were like, we can't keep insuring people, they keep dying for no reason all of a sudden. So money matters, particularly when trying to get some verifiable data to make analysis from. But it gets even worse. Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla did a media interview tour about the $43 billion Sagan acquisition. Here are the key takeaways from his interviews. 33% of people will get turbo cancer in the future, of this is certain. You're not getting turbo cancer. You're not getting turbo cancer. You know.
You're not going to lose a job. You're not going to lose a job. You know, you're not going to lose a job.
Entire families will be affected. Again, he's certain. The new cancer treatments are like missiles that will target most turbo cancers. Once again, we see the militaristic language deployed that we became familiar with during the pandemic period, how it had to be framed as a war. Do you remember that kind of the amount of effort that went into that? Do your part, do your bit. This is kind of like our war. At the beginning, at the fun bit of the pandemic, do you remember the fun bit? Oh, we're all staying indoors, and there were sort of songs and memes and stuff like that. The language that's used around these things is interesting and potentially revealing. Pfizer will produce them at a scale that has never been seen before. Well, that's weird, almost like they've recently had practice in setting up operations where they can issue drugs at an unprecedented level. How extraordinary. Almost like in our country, the UK, Moderna were given taxpayer money to set up factories to continue to create medications for pandemics that aren't currently here. Although there's a WHO treaty coming to a country near you, ensuring that you will pay for future pandemics. By 2025, Pfizer will have a global network. We have a very quick way of completing clinical trials. Does that involve using minimal number of mouses to reach very profitable conclusions? How did you get access to the labs? Well, I don't know, I just followed some of the bats as they fluttered in through your open air vents. Will be produced at scale, just like mRNA. Like, they're using that as if that's like, this is a sequel, as if that was something we're all pleased with. Remember the success of mRNA? Well, I've got some questions. Well, it's even better, because this time it's cancer. Think about what Bourla is telegraphing with this information.
Joining up.
Don't let them break your spirit. Take that foothold from the enemy.
You tried.
They've made the first move. Counter them. The enemy has more footholds. Drive them out. This is our final stand.
Enemy down.
Take that foothold from the enemy. We're halfway through. Stay strong.
We've bloodied their
The
noses.
enemy has more footholds. Drive them out.
Too slow. Enemy in the distance.
They've made the first move. Counter them. We have lost the battle, but not the war.
Why would any company need to produce cancer treatments at a scale never before seen? Why would Pfizer, of all companies, be willing to bet tens of billions of dollars on turbo cancer continuing to explode at exponential rates around the
Double
world in
kill.
the coming years?
Quadra
Seeking Alpha
kill.
analysis theorizes it's going to
You
take
have
Pfizer at least
vanquished
a
a
decade just
powerful
to break
foe.
even.
You are the
Financially,
avatar
this
of death.
$43 billion acquisition makes no sense to Pfizer, unless
cry of
Paula knows
terror
something like
rings
this
out.
out there. But remember, what we're looking for here is a connection between Brett Weinstein saying that many more people
Headshot.
than has been surmised have died as a result of those medications, and Albert Bourla's latest investment. Let's have a look at the Florida Surgeon General talking about potential risks of the vaccines before looking to see whether or not there has been a rise in cancer in young people. There has been a rise. Let's have a look.
It's also developing right now. Florida's Surgeon General says for us to stop getting the COVID vaccine.
Fox 35's Hannah McKenzie is joining us live in the Alert Center tonight. So, Hannah, he says what's in the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines is a problem.
Yeah, Luann, John, Florida Surgeon General Dr. Latipo says he has safety concerns pertaining to the discovery of billions of DNA fragments found per dose in the Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. And he says those concerns have not been addressed by the FDA or the CDC. Dr. Latipo says if the risks of DNA integration with COVID vaccines cannot be addressed, then the vaccines aren't appropriate for use in humans.
But that only applies to humans, so it's not all bad, because the mouses, they're presumably fine. Excuse me!
He says he sent letters to the heads of the FDA and the CDC specifically questioning how this would impact humans in three main areas. Healthy human genes being transformed into cancerous cells.
Oh. So it could cause cancer then, I suppose. And would it cause those cancers slowly or quickly? Quite quickly. Turbo speed. Yeah, turbo cancers. Yeah, could call them that.
Chromosomal instability, and how the integration could affect unintended parts of the body, such as the heart, brain, lungs, even the injection site itself.
But before we get too cynical, have we heard of any heart issues in people that have been vaccinated? Although it was initially dismissed as a conspiracy theory, we now know that many vaccine-like products do affect the heart. But cancers? Albert Bourla certainly seems to believe a lot of people are going to be getting cancer soon. But is there any evidence? Because I like to follow the science all the way to the tumour.
Among younger people, it says more people are getting colorectal cancer and more people are dying from it. While the cause of the uptick is not clear, doctors say they do have theories about what may be driving the rise. Our George Stephanopoulos has more.
Doctors are sounding the alarm about cancer diagnoses on the rise in people younger than 50.
And maybe the scariest thing about that is that we actually don't know what is driving this uptick.
Colorectal cancer is just one of the several common cancers on the rise in young adults under 50 in the past 20 years.
A new report from the American Cancer Society anticipates 153,000 new colorectal cancer cases this year and about 52,000 deaths. 60% of new cases are advanced stage disease, and rates are increasing among younger people.
Shockingly, 1 in 5 people who will be diagnosed presently are younger than 55 years of age, which is quite young for colorectal cancer.
Doctors aren't sure what's driving that trend, but say more than half of colorectal cancers are attributed to factors under your control, like diet, exercise, and smoking.
It's your fault that you got cancer, and if Albert Bourla makes some money out of that, that's none of your business. Although you did fund the research and development for many of the products that have made Pfizer so rich in the first place. It's your fault. So there you have it, a story in which it becomes clear that more people appear to have died than is being publicly acknowledged as a result of medical administrations in the last couple of years. Information that is suppressed about myocarditis, pericarditis, and other heart conditions is now entering the mainstream. We are seeing Albert Bourla and Pfizer investing heavily in turbo cancers, and elsewhere we're seeing cancer on the rise. A cynical, skeptical, analytical, and discerning person might think that there's some connection between all these phenomena. A drug that was introduced to the marketplace without significant or even sufficient trialing has potential side effects that we're still learning about. I don't make any hysterical assumptions or random or ridiculous connections, but it seems to me the way that this has been handled, the way this has been reported on, the way that information has been controlled, repressed, obfuscated, diluted, misrepresented, it seems to me that all of us would do well to remain very, very discerning, awake, and aware when it comes to the business dealings of pharmaceutical giants globally. If Albert Bourla thinks that turbo cancers are going to be on the rise, and cancer more generally is on the rise in young people, I think it's appropriate to stay awake and alert and be very, very careful what medications you take, because some of the consequences and side effects could be literally fatal. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat below? Let me know how you're staying across this complicated and evolving story and what it's done to your trust in the media, your trust. trust in Big Pharma, your trust in the state, and how you would like to see your life and your community organized subsequently. Remember, we are part of a movement that's resisting this kind of change and this type of corruption. If you'd like to join us, click the link in the description. We'd love to have you. More important than any of that, if you can, please stay free.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream.
Texas are suing.
Hush here, joining us. Should have thought twice. Of course it's down to me.
Double kill.
You and your friends in the afterlife.
You are the avatar of death.
Better find some cover.
Let's mix it up.
Who's up next?
Not a smart place to be.
This isn't good.
The enemy has surrendered. Victory is ours.
Oh, looks like Claus made his mark.
Double kill. You are the avatar of death. Double kill.
Pfizer for being legally misleading about their recent product. The WHO treaty is just about to be passed, and if it is, you won't have any choice at all about what medications you take if the WHO say you should. So is that democracy? Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Thanks for joining us on our voyage to truth and freedom. I'm so grateful that you're here today as we continue to awaken together. You'll notice that there is an awakening taking place because things that were regarded as unsayable and heretical just a couple of years ago are now right there in the legacy media, not by choice, but because of necessity, because independent media has brought these ideas to the forefront. One such example is the state of Texas suing Pfizer for being misleading about vaccines, and yet the WHO are still pushing a treaty that will mean that if your country, if you happen to live in a country that's a member state, and you probably do, then if the WHO say you've got to take vaccines, your country's got to do lockdowns, then that is what will happen. And your government will be able to abdicate responsibility entirely. You may have forgotten how many times during the pandemic period you heard the words, well, this is the WHO recommendation, this is what the WHO thinks. In fact, policies like lockdown and masking and social distancing and, of course, vaccines all came via the WHO. No matter how they arrived at your nation, they are all measures that happen to be recommended and could soon be mandated by the WHO. So let's have a look at that lawsuit. Let's have a look at a physician whose license was revoked during the pandemic period for vaccine misinformation that turns out was simply foresight. And let's have a look at this new WHO treaty and what it will mean if it's passed and why we should oppose it.
New at 4, Attorney General Ken Paxton suing drug maker Pfizer. Paxton posted about it to social media, accusing the company of misrepresenting the effectiveness of the COVID-19 vaccine and conspiring to censor public discourse.
The federal government long ago, back in I think the 80s, passed a law that gave protection to pharmaceutical companies when they provided vaccines. There's no liability, complete protection. However, under state law, they don't have those same protections. We have a Deceptive Trade Practices Act, and that's what we're suing them under, arguing that they did not tell our consumers in Texas the truth, and therefore there are damages because they didn't tell the truth about the effectiveness or the potential side effects of the vaccine. We think the number 95% was not a true number. It wasn't an accurate number. It wasn't a reliable number, and they knew it. That's our argument. They knew that it wasn't a reliable number, and therefore they misled consumers about the effectiveness. So people are making healthcare decisions that are pretty important, and they're taking on a vaccine that hasn't really been tested, and we don't know the long-term effects. Yet they knew some of the potential side effects, and they knew that it wasn't 95% effective. And so people are making their decisions based on believing that Pfizer is telling them the truth. And of course, then the Biden administration came in and started threatening people with their jobs. And we had other cities and states doing the same thing, forcing people to get this vaccine. And it was based on false information. And that's a real problem because it has long-term consequences for consumers in Texas. One of the good things about this litigation is it's going to bring out information that the public hasn't known, and we're going to make sure that information gets out. So at the very least, whether we win or lose, I think we're going to win, and potentially we'd have other lawsuits. But at the very least, the public can go, wait a minute, I'm going to be I'm going to be a lot more hesitant to trust the Biden administration next time, or any other government entity that tells me I have to get it, or I'm going to lose my job, or I have to get that pressure. Didn't add up.
So you've obviously witnessed this narrative evolve from a point where these are simply matters that couldn't be discussed to the point where there's legislation taking place at the level of the state. And yet the WHO treaty, if passed, will mean that your entire nation will be mandated to follow measures that they suggest. Thankfully, it is at least being publicly discussed, and at the moment we have the opportunity to potentially oppose it. This is
Hush here, joining up.
Capture more footholds than the enemy. Defend our footholds and seize victory.
Who's up next? down to me. You tried.
Double kill. Triple kill.
What did you think was
You are the avatar of death. Quadra kill. Terrifying.
another for the pyre?
You have slain an immortal. A cry of terror rings out. This place is perilous.
Not dead yet. Who's up next?
We've got enemies.
They've made the first move. Counter them.
Let's try something new.
The enemy has more footholds. Drive them out. Take that foothold from the enemy.
Better find some cover.
You have vanquished a powerful foe.
We're halfway there.
Double kill.
The enemy has more footholds. Drive them out.
Who's up next? Should have thought twice. Who's up next?
The enemy is making their last stand.
This isn't good.
The enemy has more footholds. Drive them out.
Let's try something new. Didn't think I could pull that off, did you?
Double kill. Triple kill. You are the avatar of death. Quadra kill. Terrifying.